Now, you know June is tripping right now. She's struggling with the addictions. And she is the baby sister. And you know them baby sisters be out of pocket, right?
Hello, black hole. See this brother winning, man. Hey, hey, look, what is your win, babe? What is your win, babe? What is your win, babe?
Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, Anita Pointer and Fritz Pointer's Fairytale, the Pointer Sisters family story. The night of the 1985 American Music Awards, we had just come off a tour with Lionel Richie and were in a dressing room when someone came running up the stairs and said that several folks wanted to meet us at the A&M recording studios after the awards show. And the session would include Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones, and Stevie Wonder. It was all very secretive. Earlier that day, we had received a cassette tape with a song on it. We were asked to listen to it and be prepared for an upcoming jam session that would be announced later. We were understandably curious and eager to explore every opportunity, so after that award show was over, we showed up at the studio. I noticed there was a big sign outside that said, "Leave your ego at the door." Harry Belafonte, ooh, Harry Belafonte. Let me tell you something, okay? Harry Belafonte, you know, I'm scared of like big foreheads. It's something about the big forehead thing that it's just, I don't know, it's just jarring to me. Even though we fitting to do the Bobby Womack, and you know, he got big ass forehead, right? Him and Miles J, their foreheads just be frightening. I don't know why. Even Tyra Banks' forehead is frightening me. I don't know why. Harry Belafonte was the exception because that Negro and his daughter, Sherry, had a big ass forehead, but it didn't matter to me. It didn't matter. I just seen him so sexy. Maybe it was because I forget the name of the movie that he was in with Dorothy Dandridge. And when he had her toes in his hands and he was blowing her toenails, oh, I fell in love with him. Oh, what was it? Carmen. Oh, Harry Belafonte, the entertainer and social activist, had started a non-profit foundation called USA for Africa to help feed the starving people of that continent. It was a wonderful symbolic gesture and something we wholeheartedly supported. It was especially important for Black entertainers to think of issues bigger than themselves, their egos, and their bank accounts. It was about being able to give back after all of the success we all enjoyed. So we were glad that they asked us to be a part of what would become a global phenomenon. We Are the World. I knew there were huge talents involved, but I had no idea it was going to be as big as it was. For something so grand, it was incredibly well organized. I suppose with so many moving parts, it had to be. Still, I was amazed to see it all come together. Everyone was advised where to stand and when to sing. Of course, the song was being recorded and the whole affair was filmed to be released as a music video, child, like I told you before. Them damn music videos was the end all and be all, baby. You couldn't survive back then in the 80s if you ain't have some form of video out there. I don't care if the video was terrible. Some of them videos looked like they was taped in a cafeteria. You know what I'm saying? But it had to be a video. The Pointer Sisters initially had a solo part in the song, but it didn't work out because June had to leave early. What? June left? Now, you know June always want to be a part of the good shit. So, yeah, that's amazing. Maybe she had to leave early so that, you know, she can go see the Pusher Man. Maybe that might be it. Pointer Sisters initially had a solo part in the song, but it didn't work out because June had to leave early, with Ruthie and me staying to finish the job. I was standing near Joe Cocker and LaToya Jackson and Sheila E. And we worked all night to finish the song because it would be practically impossible to gather so many superstars in the same room again. There was only one chance to record all the vocals. We didn't get out of there until the next morning, and it was impressive to see how devoted Lionel, Michael, and Quincy were. It was obvious they were determined to get everything right. Always one to live each moment to the fullest, I was not shy about getting everyone to sign the sheet music to commemorate the historic event. Child, this is before the cameras. This is before you could take the pictures. Back then, in order for you to prove that you met your entertainer or your favorite celebrity, child, they would sign their signature. It was called an autograph when you was a celebrity. So you would ask the people that you love, can I have your autograph? Child, for real, you could have just got your cousin Harry to sign the paper and it wouldn't have meant nothing. But that's what we used as, let's say, verification that we actually met our celebrity. Now, camera phones, with sales in excess of 20 million copies, the song We Are the World was one of the fewer than 30 all-time singles to have sold at least 10 million copies worldwide. Cyndi Lauper, oh yikes, Cyndi girl. We know you're not the best singer in the world, but that shit was terrible. But it was for the greater good. She was all good with Girls Just Wanna Have Fun and Time After Time. You know she had background vocals doing that with her, but that shit was terrible. Besides We Are the World, we also participated in the fun side projects. Bruce Willis was just becoming a huge star thanks to his popular role on the TV show Moonlighting. He was doing that show with Sybil Shepherd, and they were like a PI firm. And his burgeoning movie career. In 1986, we were asked to sing on a song, Respect Yourself, which would be the lead single for his debut album, The Return of Bruno. June had a lead part in the song, lending music superstar credibility to the project and helping it to reach the top 5 on Billboard Hot 100 single charts. As our popularity continued to soar, it was time for another album. The record was titled Hot Together. The album performed respectively on Billboard R&B and dance charts, but only reached 33 on the Hot 100. Danger. You know how them record labels do. If your ass ain't in the top 10, what the hell is you doing wrong? They start itching. They start getting nervous. Oh, shit. The Pointer Sisters can't produce no more. Now they looking at you sideways. You ain't no longer a priority. Now, instead of them having Holland Doja Holland produce you, now they got Juju. Still, we weren't ready to give up on the album. The title track was well known because it was included in the soundtrack for the Mel Brooks film Spaceballs and the Richard Dreyfuss film Stakeout. I loved Spaceballs. Me and BFF went to go see that in the theater. It was hilarious. I wasn't sure where the Pointer Sisters would go next, and I decided it was time for a few projects of my own. In 1987, I released my own project, Love for What It Is. It felt rushed, and I think the record company was trying to satisfy too many people, but I was proud to put out my own album. The record's first single, Overnight Success, reached number 41 on the Billboard R&B charts. it won't be another record, child. Won't be another record. But I tell you, child, that thing ain't in the top 10, we got a problem. Remember when we was reading the Mariah Carey book, Mariah Carey had an album that was number 2, and them niggas was itching. But here come the good part, okay? June is tripping. Hold tight. Since June had done her own album, I made sure to talk to her about my album in the dressing room one night before a show we were planning in Tahoe. June said folks in her camp had told her that I didn't want her doing a solo album. That's exactly what I was talking about when I mentioned how people can get in your ear. I was shocked that she believed something like that without coming to me first. She was incredibly upset about my project. I tried to explain that what she had heard was a bullshit lie. I didn't ever say I didn't want her to do a solo album. The only thing I ever said was that I reserved the right to do one as well. In that moment, June slapped me across my face. Oh, June girl. Now, you know June is tripping right now. She's struggling with the addictions. And she is the baby sister. And you know them baby sisters be out of pocket, right? But Anita, girl, Anita, sometimes you might have to whoop a sister ass. Especially them baby girls. Sorry, baby girls. I love you, but you guys are a piece of work. You hear me? You be having to, 1-2 punch their ass sometimes because they be beside themselves. And she the lead singer. And she the golden ticket. Child. Y'all would have had to jump her ass. In that moment, June slapped me across the face and ran. Oh, okay. Because you know them baby sisters will do that. Pop, smack you in the face and run. Because June probably know that the Anita got hands. My frustration got the better of me, and I picked up a bowl of clam dip and threw it at her. The bowl crashed against the door, and the clam dip flew back into my face. I probably would have left that out, Anita. You'd have let the girl smack you in the face and get away with it. Then you humiliated by the fact that you threw some clam dip at the damn girl, hit the door, and then the clam dip fell back in your face. The bowl crashed against the door, and the clam dip flew back into my face. Everybody laughed, including me. June was mad at me, but I wasn't mad at her. Still, because of that chaos, we had to cancel the show that night. I chartered a private plane and went home to regroup. The fight of ours in the dressing room was a real wake-up call for me. I fully understood how easy it was for others to get us to turn on each other. It was sobering to realize that our tight union could be so easily compromised. On a personal level, things were in flux when my grandmother, Roxy Silas, died at Nevada Convalescent Hospital. Serious Slamming was the title of the album we put out in 1988. By that time, we had recorded 14 albums in 15 years, which shows how prolific and determined we were. We realized that with our songs slipping on the charts, movie soundtracks helped to continue the longevity. So the first single, He Turned Me Out, was featured in the movie Action Jackson, starring Carl Weathers. Ooh, my mammy loved him. Ooh, she thought he was the sexiest black man on television. You hear me? So the first single, He Turned Me Out, was featured in the movie Action Jackson, starring Carl Weathers, Sharon Stone, and Prince protege Vanity. It reached number 40 on the R&B chart. That ain't good enough. That ain't good enough. We had another modest success with the single I'm in Love, which made it to number 67. That ain't good enough, baby. We attempted to change up our sound, going in a more R&B and urban direction. Of course, it was a gamble. In 1989, June released her second album, simply titled June Pointer, on Columbia Records. With June's solo album and the latest offering from the Pointer Sisters failing to create a lot of interest, I was unsure what was in store for us as a group and a family. As the Pointer Sisters, we had an interesting history with Motown. First off, they passed on signing us as a group when we were looking for our first record deal. Next, after Bonnie left the group, she was signed to Motown until 1981. We also had friendships with a lot of people on the Motown roster, even though we worked hard to distance ourselves from some of their girl groups in effort to establish our own identity, not to mention that Ruth was married to a member of the Temptations who recorded for the label. That's it. That's my fucking all. You hear me? That's all she said. She ain't even put Dennis' name in here. You hear me? She ain't even say Dennis' name. She ain't even put his name in this book. His name ain't in here no more. Nowhere. No more. No more. Nowhere. Nothing. So I was surprised as anyone when we signed with them to release our 1990 album, our 14th studio record called Right Rhythm. The good part of the deal was that we were allowed to act as executive producers on the album and received credits for that. The bad part was that we didn't receive much support in the ways of promotional budget, advertising, or anything else needed to reach the fans. Instead, we were forced to spend our own money to promote as much as we could. Child, thank God for the Instagram and the YouTube. Because now you don't need them labels to give you money no more. Switching labels had been a gamble that did not pay off. We had to promote the album with our own finances when it didn't do well. It was a real letdown for us, but we weren't giving up. We made a switch to SBK Records and in 1993 released an album titled Only Sisters Can Do That. For over 2 decades, from 1973 to 1994, we had recorded and released a total of 23 albums, an amazing feat for an artist or group. Naturally, it had all been a labor of love, and we weathered the ups and downs, no matter how insurmountable. In 1991, we were asked by Bob Hope to travel to the Persian Gulf to perform for the troops. We had finally found management that not only understood us, but they had been fans of our music before we signed with them, so they were truly invested in our success, which was an amazing feeling. They continued to find new venues for us. In 1995, we signed up for a national tour of the hit musical Ain't Misbehaving. The show ran for 48 weeks and RCA Records released an album of highlights from the show, which we recorded in one day. They had all the tracks down and we just went in and sang every song, just like we were performing in a show. We did 46 weeks from 1995 to 1996. I understood why June couldn't handle much of the schedule. I thought I was going to lose my mind, I swear. I had no idea how intense and exhausting that type of work is. And if you're not built for it, you can't do it because they do I think it's 3 shows a night for 6 days and then 1 or 2 shows on Sunday. That shit is crazy. I love the theater, one of the most beautiful experiences in the world, but F that. They will never work that hard. I am a hard worker, yes indeed, but I be getting migraines, girl. That migraine come in or, I get hunger pains and shit. I forget to eat that day, my sugar get low. Next minute, I'm passing out on stage. I can't do all that. Yes, if you don't work, you don't eat. Okay, fuck that. They be on a diet that year. I gained a whole new appreciation for those who do it all the time. With June sitting out most shows, Ruth and I had a tense, strained relationship during the production. I could imagine the stress. Then there were all those rules. You had to stick strictly to everything that was the original script. Oh, then we know you wasn't working for the Tyler Perry, because Tyler Perry, that is an ad-libbing mother hunter. Mid-90s, Mother's health was declining. Mother passed away on November 15, 2000, with me, Aaron, Fritz, Ruth, Fawn, and Jason Winters surrounding her bed at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. In 2003, 3 years after Mother passed away, my daughter Jada was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. After a brief struggle with the disease, she passed away on June 10, 2003 at the age of 37, leaving behind her daughter Roxy. Still, the 2000s weren't done with us yet. We found out that June was a full-blown cocaine addict. Now, if you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Now, remember this, the same people that you meet on the way up will always be the same people that you meet on the way down. My naysayers, my finger, I broke my fingernail. My patron loves, you babies, y'all have a good one. Peace.